Ladies and gentlemen, the RT Boxing Show with Mr.A will begin shortly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy. Yes, folks. It is Ready Talk Boxing, the RT Show with your host, Mr.A. Thank you for tuning in, and I do appreciate it. Do not forget to hit the thumbs up. It is Ready Talk Boxing, and we will be talking multiple topics. We will be talking about Sergey Dervyanchenko taking his Stay Busy fight. We will also be talking about Joshua and Joseph Parker press conference. Little tie-ins, and then magic happening. That was a magical, well planned out conference. We will talk about that. We'll also be discussing the Jacobs situation with Matchroom and his HBO. What was to come with that. And thank you for watching the RT Boxing Show. Let's start talking. Now, we're going to start it off with the Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs. We knew why he signed over to HBO. That was obvious. You had the chunk of the middleweight division over there. The names, you had Canelo, Jacobs. Lemieux only lost to Elite, so he only lost to Triple G and Saunders. So he's still you can still match him with Canelo. And that's a fight. You got Jacobs and what other names there's out there. So seeing Daniel Jacobs fight Luis Aries, okay. And then HBO was pushing how O'Sullivan's looking promising. Get a Billy Joe who wants to rematch, maybe if he wins. Kind of putting O'Sullivan's name like it was, worthy. And before you know it, you get O'Sullivan and Daniel Jacobs. And now that's not happening. Or at least, that's what Eddie Hearn's, saying that on the boxing scene, that it's most likely not going to happen. So they're looking at Andy Lee. Now, people are going to jump on that and say it's a horse manure fight. In way aspects, if you look at like a houses, they can still build Daniel Jacobs up, but up to this point, Andy Lee only came back since losing his belt one time against Billy Joe Saunders. He lost his belt in 12-15, and he came back 3-17. And I believe it was an 8-round. I'm not too sure, and so that is who Daniel Jacobs could be placed in the ring with next. Incredible fight though, Andy Lee. That's the only questionable thing in this predicament is that layoff. Why did it have to be such a long layoff opponent? How is that helping Daniel Jacobs? Because even if he beats Andy Lee, and I'm saying Andy Lee's a credible opponent, unless Andy Lee comes out that night, a fight night, looking sharp and witty and just ready to rock and roll, is Daniel Jacobs really going to get elevated to another level? Is he? Like he's going to be like, oh, well, you beat Andy Lee after a year and so layoff. So I don't know. I'm hoping, like I said, it's a good fight, but it's going to have the mud attached to it. So I feel sorry for Daniel Jacobs, because these type of fights are good because Andy Lee could just come out of nowhere and back on the scene. You know, he was, because from what I remember, Andy Lee kind of was, because I wasn't big into that division, but to me, Andy Lee was kind of the name that kind of held that division down for a little bit, you know. And then you start hearing the other champions, just in Triple G start coming, then Peter, you know, you start hearing, for me at least, I start hearing Triple G, I start hearing, I saw the fight with Peter Quillen, because I knew David Lemieux and Andy Lee, and then I started hearing the other names. I saw Billy Joe Saunders. So Andy Lee, to me, he kind of held the middleweights down. So it'll be a nice thing. You know, Andy Lee gets up. You knock Andy Lee down, he's gonna get up. He'll get up, and you have to finish Andy Lee. And you have to really rock him. So it'll be a good fight if that layoff is just nothing, you know, just body rest. That'd be nice, but I don't know. But it'd be a hell of a fight. But I still don't see Daniel Jacobs getting the full credit unless Andy Lee comes out looking like just nothing, like it was yesterday. Now, seeing that Daniel Jacobs will fight him, and then you have Dimitri Andre, the other HBO pickup. His name is still not mentioned in nothing. So you already had Daniel Jacobs fighting Luis Aries. Sorry if I'm mispronounce it. Aries or Aries. And then preparing already for April. So his second fight in April against now most named opponent of Andy Lee. O'Sullivan. It was Spike O'Sullivan. Andy Lee. Just a name out there, but so that's 2 fights for Jacobs at least. Coming at least now. You haven't heard nothing from Andrade, Dimitri. So he was rumored with Sergey at the end of last year, but they said it wasn't enough time to have a training camp. While Sergey is saying, you know what? We were supposed to, remember the talk was Dimitri's Andrade and Sergey. Dimitri's team turned it down because Sergey didn't give them enough time for a proper training camp. We'll see if we can continue it about February or March. Obviously, something went wrong or the team stopped talking because Sergey is now on the undercard of the Spence and Peterson fight, which is nice because, okay, if that fight can't happen, take a stay busy fight. Fighters need to stay busy, you know? If you are crap and public don't like you, show us why we should like you. Show us you're not crap, you know? So he's, hey, give me an 8-rounder. I'll do something nice in 8 rounds. Make you remember me. Remember my name, Sergey Dervyanchenko. So it's nice to see fighters wanting to entertain, wanting to stay sharp. It's a win-win situation, especially if he goes out there and really performs, you know, really entertains us. So it's on the proper event. Spence and Peterson is going to be a nice card. Now, will they televise this fight? His opponent is still a TBA. So I seriously doubt it. But it'd be a nice little get there early and check him out. Sergey Dervyanchenko, he's like I said, this guy is calling out Dimitri Andrade. So that's, you don't hear that too often. So check him out. See how those fight styles play out. That's going to be one hell of a fight. So you got Sergey trying to stay busy. You got Jacobs staying busy. I don't know the credibility of this next fight. It could really benefit or put raise your arms on Daniel Jacobs. But they're staying busy. And that's what Eddie Hearn's promise for Daniel Jacobs. I want to keep him busy, keep him relevant, and make him, show that he is the next star. And how do you do that? Showing us. You can't fight the big fights. Canelo and Triple G tied up for a while probably. You got Andrade, but is Dimitri really gonna just step up to Daniel Jacobs that quick? Charlo's tied up. Billy Joe ain't gonna waste this shot. Why should he just fight Dimitri? Why? So Sergey is like C level, C tier. Maybe he's talented enough to be past that, but where he's at right now, he's like a C tier fighter. So Dimitri Andrade said, hey, if he's, you need a fight the C tier guy. He's probably one of the better fighters in the C tier. Fight him. But no word of that. At least to me, Demetrius needs a fight quick. At least a name popped out. I think it really help him, because the way right now everyone is just talking. You got Manny Pacquiao and Lomachenko. You got Tyson Fury saying he's gonna knock out AJ in 4 rounds. Just talking. Their names are out there. Their name. Look what Parker and the Joshua leading up to that. And right now Demetrius ain't talking. Nothing. Whether it's a good thing for at least say, hey, trying to get opponents, or just show us where you're at, brother. Because it was good to see, like, okay, he got an HBO signing, but really he went over there with Jacobs just because that's where the noise is at. He went up a division. To 160. He needs to get his name out there, because the reason they both went over there for the hype, Canelo and Triple G. They both went over there for Canelo and Triple G. And those two guys right now are basically letting the ink probably dry out on their agreement between the rematch. And this is going to be a very interesting call. Because a lot of people, I would say majority of boxing fans, I do believe, feel Triple G deserves to have his hand raised as the victor. Now, there's some out there who says, no, Mr.A. I watched that fight for the 3rd time. And I do think Canelo won now. Good for you. This fight is going to be the beginning of a trilogy. Can we say that? Do we dare say that? I hope not. I really do not. I really do not hope this is a trilogy. I hope this victor is a clear-cut victor. I hope it's a really good one. And I even don't want a one-hit quitter knockout unless it's like in a 9th round. Because if it's a one-hit early quitter, then we're like, oh, well, that's boxing. That could happen to anyone. Let's do it one more time. If it's a knockout, let's see like a 7 to 10 round fight. Good stuff. And then someone just gets knocked out. But what I do believe, like I said, I hope this is not a trilogy, because that will tie the fighters up. And I don't believe Team Golden Boy would mind at all making this a trilogy. Even if they win, be like, hey, you want one shot again, your belts back? Fight on September 9th, tie Canelo and Triple G this whole year on those Mexican holidays. Man, the Golden Boy would happily do that. Very, very happily. That tie Canelo up a whole year, staying away from the competition. Triple G, he's gonna have to think about that real hard. Do I try and get my belts back, or do I take one shot at Billy Joe Saunders? Or Billy Joe's probably gonna duck him and try and get Canelo, but we'll see. We will see. I still don't. That'd be nice. That'd be nice if Canelo wins and then goes for Billy Joe on the other Mexican holiday, September 9th. That'd be a blockbuster pay-per-view. Wow, wow, that'd be a nice little event. Now, if Triple G wins and goes for Triple Billy Joe, it won't be as big an event, But if Canelo and Billy Joe fought on September 9th, that pay-per-view weekend, that'd be nice. I think that's the Mexican Independence Day. That one, that'd be a nice little buyer. That'd be a nice one. But I don't know. I don't know because for one, I had Triple G winning that fight, and I do see Triple G winning this fight. I will see him winning the rematch because the overall viewing for the first fight was Canelo looked really sharp. He was quick. He was slick. He was able to move around and outbox Triple G. And then he laid on the ropes and he was able to counter him. That's the overall view on it. And then you go to Triple G's side and it's like, oh, he was jabbing, but he looked intimidated and he didn't want to fire when Canelo was on the ropes. Now, saying all that, look at the keywords in those breakdowns. Canelo looked really sharp, able to outbox Triple G. Rested on the ropes, was able to counter him. Looked really good. Canelo looked, good. Then everyone says Triple G was timid. Triple G didn't take chances, and he still put up a questionable, a draw effort, and he wasn't even taking chances. He wasn't even being himself. Canelo went beyond his previous. He went to a new level, and he only put up a draw. Triple G wasn't. He was timid. Triple G wasn't himself. So that means he could either be his normal self or take it to another level. I have a 75% Triple G and 115% Canelo fought to a draw. That's how I see that fight. So I'm thinking Canelo Triple G, because I had Triple G. I had Triple G winning that fight pretty convincingly in a very competitive round-by-round fight. But eventually, I had Triple G edging out enough rounds to give him the majority of the points, and the points just added up. So I had him winning like 8 rounds to 4. It was very competitive. Nothing was ever dominated, but the points just slowly start adding up to a large victory. And I see that happen. I think Triple G won't be as timid. I think he was doing enough, and he felt he was doing enough to clearly win it, but obviously it wasn't clearly. But I think he's just gonna fire a little more. Canelo obviously still had his spurts. As good as he looked in the middle of the ring with Triple G firing back, he don't, unless this new body now is another fight into it. But it's just who Canelo is. I don't think he has that stamina, that workout. I don't think his cardiovascular is improving where he can fight and not do his spurts. Even though every fighter does it, but it's like really, it's like Canelo's thing. It's like you can see the flaws in that. So I think he's gonna rest against the ropes again. He's gonna do the same thing. because he was able to fire off good combinations, counter Triple G pretty successful in the center of the ring. But that's a lot of, his body's tense, he's quick reflexes. Canelo's getting tired doing all that, so he leans against the ropes, tries to sell it. He learned that from the good old Mayweather, selling it. Look like he's doing something, making you miss. But all that good stuff he's doing in the center ring is tiring him out. Canelo is not he could use the ring better now, but he's not the mover. He's a top heavy guy. So I think eventually he's gonna lay against the ropes again, and Triple G won't be as timid. I think he'll do more body hits. Keep Canelo there, because Canelo was able to throw off some combos and skate away. I think Triple G will just keep him center. So that is weird that Daniel Jacobs, Andrade came over here to fight, try and get themselves in that Triple G Canelo picture, and you got Daniel Jacobs at least being active, trying to build himself up for the rematch, and the other signee not nowhere. You got the young guy Sergey Dervyanchenko taking stay busy fights, trying to make himself relevant. I believe Sergey is like the number 1 or 2 in the IBF for that belt for Triple G, so he's up there. He's up there pretty high on one of those rankings. So it's HBO. Well, Sergey's going to be on the spin card, but there's still a pretty good little mix of middleweights right there. That's a nice little chunk of middleweight news. And then we could talk about we are going to talk about right here on the Double RT Boxing Show. Next story up is Miguel Berchelt. Him and his fight has been replaced. He is now facing he was supposed to fight I forgot his name. Well, he's not fighting him anymore. He's fighting Mickey Roman. He's fighting Mickey Roman, the one who retired Orlando Salido. I think Orlando said he might come back. I think I read that somewhere. I thought I read an article on that. But he's fighting, that is now the move-in mandatory, Mickey Roman. That should be an interesting fight, because Berchelt, I don't know if because he's definitely a better outside fighter than Mickey Roman. I can call him Mickey Roman. But I don't know if Miguel has the legs and the stamina to outside box, and will he be able to outside box and keep Mickey from coming in the whole 12 rounds. So eventually this fight is going to become Roman's type of fight, I believe, inside that moment. Now Berchelt can throw the inside game, so it's going to be interesting to see if Miguel makes this a harder fight for himself than it has to be, or Miguel Roman forces it. So it's going to be real interesting to see, can he break Miguel down? Does Roman have it still in, or can Berchelt just outbox him? I'm real interested to see that. And I'm also wondering, does Berchelt go in here to make a noise? Do you think, saying like, okay, since Orlando Salido was like the man for wars, and this guy retired Orlando Salido, what does that say for me if I just come out here and just knock him out? I just knock him out. That will put some serious name on Miguel Berchelt, because right now he's known as a decent power guy, a nice boxer, good jab, pretty like a B solid overall fighter. But to come out and just knock Roman out after retiring Salido, that'll put some nice bold print on his name. That's That's real interesting. And it's an easy sell because if he wins with a nice, memorable victory, it's an easy next voluntary fight for him because Ramon is his mandatory. And I believe Golden Boy has a little bit to do with Berchelt. An easy next fight for him would be they could set it up with their Johnny Gonzalez. That'd be a nice Mexican fan base fight. Johnny Gonzalez is on a 7-fight win streak. He is the WBC Latino champion, so they're right in there. So super featherweight, they'll fight it up. The WBC Latino super featherweight champion fighting the WBC super featherweight champion. That'd be a good fight in Mexico. Easy. They probably even put that on HBO. To be honest, they could put that on HBO, and that'd be a nice little turnout. It'd be a good little fight. Johnny Gonzalez, he's been. I seen a couple of his fights. Like as of lately, I think I did like 2 or 3 of them on the show. He's still pumping that jab. He's still working that nice body work. It'd be interesting. He moves. His legs look pretty good. So I don't know if Berchelt could just overwhelm him. So that'd be a very nice voluntary fight. I'll be interested in that. If you're interested to let people know what you think, there is a comment section down there. You can leave your comment. Would you be interested in the fight between Berchelt and Johnny Gonzalez? That'd be a very interesting fight. Very interesting. Now moving on to some of the juicier news as of late. The press conference between Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker. And this part of the show, folks, we will say, I do not know what Team Parker was doing. What? Eddie Hearn called him out on it. You talk all that talk, and then you go to the microphone and you speak all proper. Oh, well, I think Anthony Joshua is a good fighter. I've been watching him for my whole career, and I believe I will win this fight. I will knock him out. Yes, Joe. It's like, oh man. And here's like, where's all that break his chin and he's right here. And that's the first thing I notice is how I get it, PR. But why stop the PR train? The fight ain't sold yet, you know? He's right there. I'm like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna knock your glass chin out, I'm gonna break it out, sell it. And Eddie Hearn called him out on everything. Do you think you could win? Do you really? The answer is no. The answer, he called every bluff they had. Team Parker is going to have to really show up in the ring because it was just embarrassing. I found that to be pretty embarrassing, to be honest, as a boxing fan, watching that, because the odds of Parker winning this, to me, are smaller odds than Luis Ortiz beating Deontay Wilder. But can it still happen? Of course. And what was brilliant about this press conference was how they seemed like just set it up. They set it up so brilliantly. Anthony Joshua talking about that fake news about all his questions about his weak chin, saying how David Price was like the second one story. He never mentioned the ones you heard in the sparring session with Dubois. and all that. But he just mentioned the one in I guess he mentioned how David Price rocked him, and then next thing you hear, he's like, you know, David Price, a good fighter, he's a puncher, blah blah blah, you know, made a reason why David Price stopped him or stung him, whatever. And the next thing you hear, a couple days later, David Price agrees to fight Alexander Povetkin on the undercard. Go figure that. Was that not a nice setup or what? I like that setup. I really do. I really do. That was brilliant. That's why Eddie Hearn getting that promotion. You're promoting people. That was nice. That was nice, because you figure if Alexander Povetkin could get that, it's supposed to be an easy softball toss-up, right, for him. A nice little softball toss-up. But David Price is like 6'8". He's like 6'8", 260. You got little 6'2", 6'1" Povetkin. And David Price's problem is stamina. What if David Price comes in shape and just throws those clubs on him and just upsets Alexander Povetkin? And can you imagine the David Price and Joshua fight? They secretly been wanting to sell that fight so bad. So bad that Eddie Hearn wants that fight. Because it's a name. It has that backstory. Let's see if Povetkin takes that offer. Because they say it's already pretty much a done deal that Povetkin is going to fight on the undercard. They just don't have an opponent. So hearing that he's going to fight on the undercard makes you wonder, is he going to fight Povetkin before the unification with the Ortiz-Wilder winner? Will the WBA really enforce a hard mandatory like that? Will they? So you figure you had IBF was Tack'em. You had the yeah, that'll be it. Because I don't think the WBO will force a hard mandatory, which is weird. I was gonna say I'm so used to the WBO being like on a HBO or Bob Arum fighter. I was like, where can Bob Arum pop into this? But I forgot he's co-promoting Joseph Parker. Bob Arum's always around that WBO, and he's around Andy Ruiz, Brian Jennings. So that's where we'll see if any of those fighting names come up. But that was brilliant the way Team Hearn and Joshua set up David Price. Talked about how he hurt him, and then threw his name out there to suggest Povetkin fight on paper, and everyone thinking, oh, Povetkin's just knock David Price out. Easy victory. Because you figure Anthony Joshua is not a fighter that needs a big fight in Russia. He could get just as big of a fight in the UK. Because usually, but I'm pretty sure Alexander Povetkin's promoting team might still win that purse bid. So that fight still might take place in Russia, and that'll sell a lot of seats in Russia. Lots of seats. So that would be it. That I still can't believe that little combo switch up though. How they threw David Price. Do you think David Price could beat Alexander Povetkin? Do you think that fight's gonna come out? Like I said, because me myself, if you give me just David Price stamina is gonna be on point. I think he knocks Alexander Povetkin out with that jab and overhand right. He got pretty sick meat hooks to the bottom too. Alexander Povetkin can get in and out with those overhand hooks, but David Price hits hard. And dude, that 6'8" just coming down. But that stamina, ooh, that's gonna be a questionable call. That's why Eddie Hearns, the promoter, I'm telling you, he threw it out there. The job of the promoter, throw a fight that scratches the itch. And I get my predictions wrong sometimes because I get scratched easy, man. I get those easily itches, man. You know, I overthink. You know, I believe that every fighter is gonna change. You know, every fighter is gonna adapt and fix their flaws. No, fighters don't fix their flaws. You know, so was David Price still be a weak stamina, or am I thinking he's gonna come in in stamina and knock Povetkin out? See, I overthink stuff like that, man. And I'm gonna think I'm gonna get like 500 thumbs up on this video. I'm probably gonna get like 18 views on this video. So hopefully I get like 4 thumbs up. It'd be cool if I get like 12. That'd be very appreciative, guys, and great for the support. This is Mr. A saying thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching Double RT Boxing with Mr. A, myself, Ready Talk Boxing. Until the next episode, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the thumbs up.